Throughout the years of my experience building and painting model kits, mostly Gunpla, I've seen this antipathic behavior when it comes to hand painting by the Gunpla community. And honestly, this behavior came from extreme fuck-ups or lack of resources, though to be honest, the miniature community has a lot of resources. So in this video, I'll teach you how to hand paint the model kits with a paintbrush. In this part, I'll be teaching you how to make a wet palette. As you can see, I have parchment paper, tissue, and your mom's beloved Tupperware. Now you can start out without a wet palette and skip to the part where I start pushing paint in the timestamps below. But since I started using this and how long I can work without often reaching for paint bottles and paint drying on me because of using an ordinary palette and wasting precious time, I cannot work without a wet palette anymore. Keeps your paint workable throughout the hours of painting you're gonna do because of the moist parchment paper and the tissue that will be supplying that moisture. As you can see, I'm cutting up the parchment paper to size. Once you're done, you put it on top of the tissue. Keep the parchment paper smaller so that the tissue will provide moisture to the sides and your parchment paper will dry quickly and warp. So yeah, you put it on there, you slap it on. And now we add water to the palette. So I'm just gonna grab some water here and yeah, you put water in it. And as you can see, the parchment paper is starting to warp. That's why you make sure to add moisture to both sides, the top and the bottom of the parchment paper. After that, you remove the excess water and you make sure you wipe the top of the parchment paper with tissues. I didn't show it here because I'm a dumbass, and yeah, it will be essential to remove the water with tissue on top because it won't work. Believe me, it won't work. Now, I will be demonstrating using, like I said, I will be demonstrating using Vallejo Squid Pink, which is honestly one of the best pinks out there, in my opinion. You can't see much changes right now. Well, you can't see much changes because I'm pouring paint, so yeah. Like I said, you can't see much changes right now, but it becomes very useful in the long hours of your painting session. So I'll show the palette. I will show you the palette again after. I am not re-recording this part, dude. So yeah, as you can see, the paint got thinner, and I'm just writing thanks here because why not? Dude, I've been recording this part for a few hours now. Like, God. Well, yeah, I'll show you the wet palette after this. Okay, brushes. Just because you're painting something small does not mean you're gonna get the smallest brush in the world. That goes for miniature figures and small parts. Get yourself some cheap sable brushes. They can do base coats and fine lines and hold paint in moisture better. And get a size 4 to 7. So yeah, look at me running this through my hand. Make sure it has a sharp point, and yeah, as you can see, it has a sharp point, which is perfect for painting details and for doing logos, freehand logos. Yeah, look at that moisture, it will be very useful later. On to painting. I'm using Armored Komodo's water-based acrylics here. Now I will show you a plastic plate that is unprimed, primed in black and gray, also by Armored Komodo, which is airbrushed on. You don't need to airbrush it, but hey, I use an airbrush because I have it. Now, I'm not going to use the wet palette here. Like I said, you don't really need to use the wet palette, but I would recommend it, especially when you're using Vallejo instead of paints. Now we put the paint on. Now we're gonna start off with the blue. And now watch as how evenly the paint comes off the primed surfaces and how the unprimed surface has parts that aren't sticking to it. You can see there, yeah. And I'm just gonna stroke it again for reference. Now we're gonna try another color on, which is red. So once again, you can see me. Once again, you can see the same results pretty much. And yeah, just slap some paint on. It even applies on the black. And this will be relevant later. Don't paint on black parts, it won't show. No, it will show. We're gonna use layering to make it show. Okay, second layer. Now we're starting with red here, and watch how it becomes more vibrant, even under our undercoat of black. This is why we use model acrylics rather than craft paint. I know, you wanna go cheap, but that's why other people are turned off, because they're using the tool the wrong way. As you can see, there's a very beautiful coats. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you the blue. And watch how it becomes more opaque once I apply the second layer. Yeah, it's very opaque, even under the black. Very, very nice. And yeah, now scratch test. I gave these a few hours to dry, and as you can see, the primed parts are just having scratches on them, while the unprimed parts are peeling off the plastic. This is why we prime our kits usually. Whatever colors we're using, it's essential to prime. So yeah, I'm gonna show you right here. Now let's apply what we learned to an actual piece. Now I'm using a wet palette in this clip, and we're just gonna put paint around and just cover what needs to be painted up. Don't do it all in one coat though. Once again, build the layers up. No big whoop. Model paints fly off a brush like a dream, dude. First layer, we're just gonna get this done. A little close up here for you. Now we let it dry and do another layer later, and the paint I use here is Vallejo Model Air's Signal Blue. Now if you don't want to fully paint a kit, you can get a surface primer that's brush on in the same size. You can paint the colors you want with this and add your regular colors on top of it. Like I said, it's brush on primer. You might want to do masking, just in case you don't trust yourself, but yeah. Now we're just gonna add the second coat here on top. Same principle here, just slap it on and make it opaque. And I'm gonna teach you how to work faster. No, you don't need to fast forward to do so. First, ask your mom, your sister, or your girlfriend if you even have one, and ask them if you have a hairdryer lying around. If they don't, just get a cheap one, dude. If you want to speed up your process, though, you can use a hairdryer, and you can get a lot of parts done if you actually have one. And as you can see here, the paint is drying almost instantly. And after this, you can apply another coat instantly after. And this will speed up your paint process and get a lot of parts done if you don't have a lot of time in the day to work on these things. It's very useful. And here's the finished piece I'm working on. And as you can see, very smooth. The orange here is airbrushed, but I was too lazy to mask it off, so I just hand painted the signal blue here. And as you can see, very smooth. I asked the community if they can tell the difference between the airbrushed blue and the handbrush blue, and they almost got it the other way actually. I told them no, it's the opposite. I think you saw the post. And here's the wet palette after a few hours, and it's still workable actually, as you can see. So here's the finished piece. Hopefully you learned a lot from this video, and if you do, drop me a like down there and a subscribe, because why not? I'm gonna release more tutorials like this soon.